Britain has a strange political tradition. Every week, the Prime Minister must meet the monarch, sort of like a weekly audience. The whole thing is purely symbolic. The Prime Minister usually travels to Buckingham Palace, briefs the monarch, probably has some tea, and then leaves. It's a meeting of Britain's two most important people, the powerful Prime Minister and a wealthy but ceremonial monarch. But now there's a twist. King Charles is still rich and ceremonial, but the Prime Minister is richer. That's right. A list of Britain's richest people is out. King Charles is ranked 258th. His net worth is around $770 million. Now look at his Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. He and his wife rank 245th. They're worth $820 million. Talk about life coming a full circle. All those years of plunder, all those decades of colonialism. And for what? An Indian origin Prime Minister to be richer than the British King. Looks like Charles and Sunak have their own little competition because last year the King was ahead on the list. But 2024 has not gone too well. His net worth has increased by around $12 million. But the Sunaks are on a roll. Their net worth rose by $150 million. So they've overtaken the King. Now, Rishi Sunak used to work as a hedge fund manager. He also has big ticket investments, but that's not the source of his family's wealth. That would be his wife's assets. Akshata Murty, she's the daughter of Narayana Murthy, the co-founder of Infosys. She owns around 0.9% stake in the company, and that's the source of her wealth. Her shares in Infosys are worth around $740 million. Now, for the record, calculating the King's assets is quite hard. Yes, he has his own personal properties, but the Crown owns a lot more. If you add all of that, the King's net worth increases dramatically. To how much? Almost $28 billion. That would make him the third richest person in Britain. But forget all that. Do you know who's the real winner here? The ordinary people of Britain. They have the privilege of being governed by these two men, both multimillionaires, both sitting on wealth they did not earn, and both technically unelected. So the British voter is the real winner. But jokes aside, this is not a good look on Sunak. Charles has no elections to contest. Plus, the people are used to their king being rich. If he isn't rich, then it's a problem, which is not the case for Rishi Sunak. Being rich in politics is not really good optics, especially during a cost of living crisis. Voters see you as distant. They see you as incapable of understanding their pain. And don't get me wrong, this does not mean that British politicians are not doing well. Most of them are pretty well loaded. Boris Johnson, for instance, was worth $2 million. David Cameron was worth $14 million. And Labour leader Keir Starmer is worth more than $9 million. But Rishi Sunak is in a completely different range. His family is worth more than $820 million. The question is, will his wealth hurt his election chances? A new nationwide poll is out. It gives the Labour Party 41% of the votes. Sunak's Conservatives are at 20%. So he's already doing badly. Chances are this news won't help, which is why Downing Street is trying to change the narrative. They say do not judge Sunak based on his wealth. Judge him based on his actions. Well, that's tougher. In the winter of 2022, Rishi Sunak decided to visit a homeless shelter. Here's how that played out.
What do you have? Do you work in a business? Do you want some fruit?
I'm homeless, and I'm actually a homeless person at the minute, but I'm interested in business.
Is that something you'd like to get into?
I wouldn't mind, but I don't know. I'd like to get through Christmas first.
It's painful to watch, almost as painful as seeing King Charles's portrait. The point here is simple. Being rich can be a handicap in politics, but your policies and attitudes also matter, maybe more than your wealth. And that's what Rishi Sunak needs to focus on.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global south. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.